read what Rana said?
Oh, I'm going to close this. Hi. Hello. Oh, hello, Annie. Already here. I've only barely started. And you're already in the chat. My goodness. My goodness gracious. Hello. We got a reading to do today. We got to read some more Lord of the Rings. I already started. I already turned off the fan, so I think that's good. I also need a haircut really bad, actually. Fun fact. Fun fact. Fun factoid. All right. Well, I suppose we should get right to it, eh? Just gotta make sure I'm comfortable here. Make sure everything's positioned well. And make sure it's loud enough, I guess. That seems fine, maybe. Yeah. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. You ready for chapter 4? Let's see, the first sentence, I gotta make sure I'm ready. It was evening, in the great light. Cool. Alright. Let's go. Wait, am I here? Actually, wait, I should probably go make sure this is actually working. Just because, you know, I've been duped before. All right. Let's go. We're good. Okay, it is working. And you said so, read. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to read. I didn't read last week, so am I like, can I do this? I got to remember my voices for all the characters. We could do it. I feel like the problem is the new people, you know? That's what I gotta get right. Alrighty then. Are you ready? Let's do it. Okay. Chapter 4. A Journey in the Dark. Okay, I gotta sound like I'm doing a reading, right? Like I'm doing an audiobook. Chapter 4. A Journey in the Dark. Is that what you want to sound like when you say chapter 4? Book, I guess you would say book 2, chapter 4. Book 2, chapter 4. A Journey in the Dark. Pone Bill. It's better with the caps, I'd say. It was evening, and the gray light was again waning fast when they halted for the night. They were very weary. The mountains were veiled in deepening dusk, and the wind was cold. Gandalf spared them one more mouthful each of Miruvor. One more mouthful each of the Miruvor of Rivendell. When they had eaten some food, he called a council. We cannot, of course, go again. We cannot, of course, go on again tonight, he said. The attack on the Red Horn Gate has tired us out, and we must rest here for a while. Then where are we to go? Asked Frodo. We still have our journey and our errand before us, answered Gandalf. We have no choice but to go on, or to return to Rivendell. Pippin's face brightened visibly. The mere mention of return to Rivendell. Merry and Sam looked up hopefully, but Aragorn and Boromir made no sign. Frodo looked troubled. I wish I was back there, he said. But how can I return without shame, unless there is indeed no other way, and we are already defeated? You are right, Frodo, said Gandalf. To go back is to admit defeat, and face worse defeat to come. If we go back now, then the ring must remain there. We shall not be able to set out again. The sooner or later, Rivendell will be besieged, and after a brief and bitter time, it will be destroyed. The ringwraiths are deadly enemies, but they are only shadows, yet of their power and their terror they would possess if the ruling ring was on their... Oh, sorry. Oh man, it's so weird to read. I might need to do this more than once a week because if it feels like it's hard to hold on to the magic, you know. The ringwraiths are deadly enemies, but they are only shadows yet of their power. And terror they would possess if the ruling ring was on their master's hand again. Then we must go on, if there is a way, said Frodo with a sigh. Sam sank back into gloom. There is a way we may attempt, said Gandalf. I thought from the beginning, when I first considered this journey, that we should try it, but it is not a pleasant way, and I have not spoken of it to the company before. Aragorn was against it, until the pass over the mountain had at least been tried. If it is worse than the Red Horn Gate, then it must be evil indeed, said Merry. But you had better tell us about it, and let us know the worst at once. The road I speak leads to the mines of Moria, said Gandalf. Only Gimli lifted up his head. A smoldering fire was in his eyes. On all others, a dread fell at the mention of that name. Even to the hobbits, it was a legend of vague fear. The road may lead to Moria, but how can we hope that it will lead through Moria? Said Aragorn darkly. It is a name of ill omen, said Boromir. Nor do I see the need to go there if we cannot cross the mountains. Let us journey southwards until we come to the Gap of Rohan, where our men are friendly to my people, taking the road that I followed on my way hither. Or we might pass by and cross the Isen into Langstrand and Lebanon, and so come to Gondor from the regions nigh to the sea. Things have changed since you came north, Boromir, answered Gandalf. Did you not hear what I told you of Saruman? With him I may have business of my own ere all is over. But the ring must not come near Isengard, if that can by any means be prevented. The Gap of Rohan is closed to us while we go with the bearer. As for the longer road, we cannot afford the time. We might spend a year in such a journey, and we should pass through many lands that are empty and harbourless, yet they would not be safe. The watchful eyes both of Saruman and of the enemy are on them. When you came north, Boromir, you were in the enemy's eyes only one stray wanderer from south. You were in the enemy's eyes only one stray wanderer from the south, and a matter of small concern to him. His mind was busy with the pursuit of the ring, but you return now as a member of the ring's company, and you are in peril as long as you remain with us. The danger will increase with every league that we go south under the naked sky. Since our open attempt on the mountain pass, our plight has become more desperate, I fear. I see now little hope. If we do not soon vanish from sight for a while and cover our trail. Therefore, I advise that we should go neither over the mountains, nor round them, but under them. That is a road, at any rate, that the enemy will least expect us to take. We do not know what he expects, said Boromir. He may watch all roads, likely and unlikely. In that case, to enter Moria would be to walk into a trap, hardly better than knocking at the gates of the Dark Tower itself. The name of Moria is black. You speak of what you do not know, when you liken Moria to the stronghold of Sauron, answered Gandalf. I alone of you have ever been in the dungeons of the Dark Lord, and only in his older and lesser dwelling in Dol Guldur. Those who pass the gates of Barad-dûr do not return. But I would not lead you into Moria if there were no hope of coming out again. If there are orcs there, it may prove ill for us, that is true, but most of the orcs of the Misty Mountains were scattered or destroyed in the Battle of 5 Armies. The eagles report that the orcs are gathering again from afar, but there is a hope that Moria is still free. There is even a chance that the dwarves are there, and that in some deep hall of his father's, Balin, son of Fundin, may be found. However it may prove, one must tread the path that need chooses. I will tread the path with you, Gandalf, said Gimli. I will go and look on the halls of Durin, whatever may wait there, if you can find that the doors are shut. Good, Gimli, said Gandalf. You encourage me. We will seek the hidden doors together, but we will come through in the ruins of the dwarves. A dwarf's head will be less easy to bewilder than elves or men or hobbits. Yet it will not be the first time that I have been to Moria. I sought there long for Thrain, son of Thror, after he was lost. I passed through, and I came out again, alive. I too once passed the Dimrill Gate, said Aragorn quietly, but though I also came out again, the memory is very evil. I do not wish to enter Moria a second time. And I do not wish to enter it even once, said Pippin. Nor me, muttered Sam. Of course not. No, that's wrong. Of course not. Of course not. I am Gandalf. I am Gandalf. Yes, I could get his voice right. Gandalf. Aha. Of course not, said Gandalf. Who would? But the question is, who will follow me if I lead you there? I will, said Gimli eagerly. I will, said Aragorn heavily. You followed my lead, almost to disaster in the snow, and have said no word of blame. I will follow your lead now. If this last warning does not move you, it is not of the ring, nor of us others that I am thinking now, but of you, Gandalf. And I say to you, if you pass the doors of Moria, beware. I will not go, said Boromir, not unless the vote of the whole company is against me. What do Legolas and the little folks say? The ring-bearer's voice surely should be heard. We finally out of the Shire? Yeah. We've been out of the Shire for a minute. For a wee minute. There, Colby. Idiot. Jeez. Do you know what you're talking about? Golly. Okay, sorry. Where was I? Oh, fuck. Legolas. I can't remember. Gay? No. A little haughty. I do not wish to go to Moria, said Legolas. The hobbits said nothing. Sam looked at Frodo. At last Frodo spoke. I do not wish to go, he said, but neither do I wish to refuse the advice of Gandalf. I beg that there should be no vote until we have slept on it. Gandalf will get votes easier in the light of the morning than in this gloom. How the wind howls! At these words, all fell into silent thought. They heard the wind hissing among the rocks and trees. There was a howling, and wailing round them in the empty spaces of night. Suddenly Aragorn leapt to his feet. "How the wind howls!" he cried. "It is howling with wolf voices. The wargs have come west of the mountains." Oh, no, it's not positive. That is a very negative thing. I need to reread that maybe. Negative Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Suddenly Aragorn leapt to his feet. "How the wind howls!" he cried. It is the howling of wolf voices. The wargs have come west of the mountains. Need we wait until morning, then? Bad voice. Come on, Will, what are you doing? Kind of. Need we mate? Posh Elrond, high end. Yes. I thought Frodo forgot something. They had to run back. Frodo forgot Sam. And if they left Sam behind, they had to go get him. Gandalf, of course. Need we wait until morning, then? Said Gandalf. It is as I said. The hunt is up. Even if we live to see the dawn. And who now will wish to journey south by night with the wild wolves on his trail? How far is Moria? Asked Boromir. There is a door southwest of Caradhras, some 15 miles as the crow flies, maybe 20 as the wolf runs, answered Gandalf grimly. Then let us start as soon as it is light tomorrow, if we can, said Boromir. The wolf that one hears is worse than the orc that one fears. True, said Aragorn, loosening his sword in its sheath. But where the warg howls, there also the orc prowls. I wish I had taken Elrond's advice, muttered Pippin to Sam. I am no good after all. There is not enough of the breed of Bandobras, the bull-roarer, in me. These howls freeze my blood. There is not enough of the breed of Bandobras, the bull-roarer, in me. These howls freeze my blood. I don't ever remember in feeling so wretched. My heart's right down in my toes, Mr. Pippin, said Sam. But we aren't eaten yet. And there are some stout folk here with us. Whatever may be in store for old Gandalf, I'll wager it isn't a wolf's belly. For their defense in the night, the company climbed to the top of the small hill under which they had been sheltering. It was crowned with a knot of old twisted trees, about which lay a broken circle of boulder stones. In the midst of this they lit a fire, for there was no hope that the darkness and silence would keep their trail from discovery by the haunting packs. Round the fire they sat, and those that were not on guard dozed uneasily. Poor Bill, the pony. Pon Bill! Oh, Pon Bill, poor Pon. Poor Bill, the pony, poor Pon Bill, trembled and sweated where he stood. The howling of the wolves was now all round them, sometimes nearer and sometimes further off. In the dead of night, many shining eyes were seen peering over the brow of the hill. Some advanced almost to the ring of stones. At a gap in the circle, a great dark wolf shape could be seen halted, gazing at them. A shuddering howl broke from him, as if he were a captain summoning his pack to the assault. Gandalf stood up and strode forward, holding his staff aloft. Listen, hound of Sauron, he cried. Gandalf is here. Fly, if you value your foul skin. I will shrivel you from tail to snout if you come within this ring. The wolf snarled and sprang towards them with a great leap. At that moment, there was a sharp twang. Legolas had loosened his bow. There was a hideous yell, and the leaping shape thudded to the ground. The elvish arrow had pierced its throat. The watching eyes were suddenly extinguished. Gandalf and Aragorn strode forward, but the hill was deserted. The hunting packs had fled. All about them, the darkness grew silent, and no cry came on the sighing wind. Wow! Legolas did what he does. Arrows in the head. Good for Legolas, you know, with his bow and his arrow, and he's shooting all them wargs, you know. Man, I need more hydration. I feel thirsty. Oh, that hits the spot. Very nice. That was very, very nice. Okay. The night was old, and westward the waning moon was setting, gleaming fitfully through the breaking clouds. Suddenly Frodo started from sleep. Without warning, a storm of howls broke out fierce and wild all about the camp. A great host of wargs had gathered silently, and was now attacking them from every side at once. "Bring the fuel on the fire!" cried Gandalf to the hobbits. "Draw your blades! Stand back to back!" In the leaping light, as the fresh wood blazed up, Frodo saw many gray shapes spring over the ring of stones. More and more followed. Through the throat of one huge leader, Aragorn passed his sword with a thrust. The great sweep Boromir hewed the head off of another. Beside them, Gimli stood with his stout legs apart, wielding his dwarf axe. The bow of Legolas was singing. The bow of Legolas was singing. Even the bows sing in this book. Everyone's singing in this book. Even the bows. Even the bows are singing. Okay, no, obviously they're not really singing. It's a okay. In the wavering firelight, Gandalf seemed suddenly to grow. He rose up, a great menacing shape, like the monument of some ancient king of stone set upon a hill. Stooping like a cloud, he lifted a burning branch and set upon a hill. Stooping like a cloud, he lifted a burning branch and strode to meet the wolves. They gave back before him. High in the air he tossed the blazing brand. It flared with a sudden white radiance like lightning, and his voice rolled like thunder. Oh, God. The bows, sing the bows song. Twang, 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 twang. No. No. Okay. Now hun adrathamen, nar dan I Nugarhoth. That's my Frodo, that's my Gandalf doing a spell. Nar han adrathamen, nar dan I Nugarhoth. That was that. He cried. There was a roar and a crackle, and the trees above him burst into a leaf and bloom of blinding flame. The fire leapt from treetop to treetop. The whole hill was crowned with dazzling light. The swords and knives of the defenders shone and flickered. The last arrow of Legolas kindled in the air as it flew, and plunged burning into the heart of a great wolf chieftain. All others fled. Suddenly the fire died, till there was nothing left but falling ash and sparks. A bitter smoke curled above the burning tree stumps, and blew darkly from the hill. As the first light of dawn came dimly in the sky, their enemies were routed and did not return. "What did I tell you, Mr. Pippin?" said Sam, sheathing his sword. "Wolves won't get him. That was an eye-opener, no mistake. Nearly singed the hair off my head." Twang, twang, twingity, twang. When the full light of the morning came, no signs of the wolves were to be found, and they looked in vain for the bodies of the dead. No trace of the fight remained, but the charred trees and the arrows of Legolas lying on the hilltop. All were undamaged, save one of which only the point was left. "It's as I feared," said Gandalf. "These were no ordinary wolves hunting for food in the wilderness. Let us eat quickly and go." That day the weather changed again. Almost as if it was at the command of some power that had no longer any use for snow, since they had. Whoop! I got a subscribe notification. What? That's the first time I've gotten a YouTube subscribe notification while streaming. That threw me way off. I was like, what the fuck? Holy shit. I guess that's going to be happening because I have a video that's doing good right now. I was just like, ah! Oh! Thank you for subscribing if you're watching. But it's possible the subscriber was just subscribing to that video. I mean, I have notifications set up. I just thought they were only. I thought they were only linked to Twitch, because I have my notifications set up with Twitch, but I've been streaming on YouTube, so I didn't think I was gonna get a notification. If that keeps happening, hey, thank you for subscribing, Yadi Figuera. If you're here, if you're not, then whatever. I guess. Thank you still. If that keeps happening, I'm gonna have to mute that sound effect because that is gonna keep interrupting the stream. Especially since I'm doing a professional read aloud of Lord of the Rings, you know. Okay, where were we? Yes, the weather changed again. Almost as if it was at the command of some power that had no longer any use for snow, since they had retreated from the pass. A power that now wished to have a clear light in which things that moved in the wild could be seen from far away. Yeah, it was very loud. I think I might need to adjust that. Yeah, I think I might need to. Is there like a mute event? Oh, I have a button to mute event sounds. Here, we'll leave it on. So if we get it again, just one more time for fun. But there's a button on my streaming software that'll allow me to mute it. So that's funny. Okay. But it's exciting getting all those subs, popping off. Gosh darn it. Isn't that fun? Everyone keeps saying my video is going to go viral, but I don't know if that's completely true. Because even though it's doing good in terms of like a lot of people subscribing, and engaging and whatever, like my click-through rate isn't that high, so I don't know. It is a fun thing that's happening. I feel like for today, maybe you're right. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on and keep doing what the whole point of the stream is, and read a book together as a team, as a wonderful group of people who are here together to well, okay. All right. The wind had been turning through north to northwest during the night, and it now failed. The clouds vanished southwards, and the sky was opened, high and blue. As they stood upon the hillside, ready to depart, a pale sunlight gleamed over the mountain tops. "We must reach the doors before sunset," said Gandalf, "or I fear we shall not reach them at all. It is not far, but our path may be winding, for here Aragorn cannot guide us. He has seldom walked in this country, and only once have I been under the west wall of Moria, and that was long ago. There it lies." He pointing away southeastwards to where the mountain's sides fell sheer into the shadows at their feet, and in the distance could dimly be seen. What the fuck is this sentence? In the distance? Yeah, Tolkien. Okay. In the distance could be dimly seen a line of bare cliffs, and in their midst, taller than the rest, one great grey wall. "When we left the pass, I led you southwards, and not back to our starting point. As some of you may have noticed, it is well that I did so, for now we have several miles less to cross, and haste is needed. Let us go." I do not know which to hope, said grimly. Said grimly? How can I teams reads? I don't know. I'm getting notifications from some fucking group chat. Family group chat. Okay. I do not know, said Boromir grimly, that Gandalf will find what he seeks, or that coming to the cliff we shall find the gates lost forever. All choices seem ill, and to be caught between wolves and the wall, the likeliest chance. All choices seem ill, and to be caught between wolves and the wall, and to be caught between the wolves and the wall, the likeliest chance. Lead on. Lead on. Stop subscribing to me. It's annoying. Stop. Don't subscribe anymore. Well, it's weird because, I don't get notifications for every subscriber because, like, I don't think it usually gives notifications, right? Because, but, like, some people do. It's, like, it depends on the account. Like, if it's, like, some sort of, like, private account, I'll get a sub. But if it isn't, then I won't, So, I don't know. It's weird. Okay. Gimli now walked ahead by the wizard's side. So eager was he to come to Moria. Together they led the company back towards the mountains. The only road of old to Moria from west had lain. The only road of old to Moria from the west had lain along the course of a stream, the Ciranon, that ran out from the feet of the cliffs, near where the doors had stopped, near where the doors have stood, near where the doors had stood. But either Gandalf was astray, or else the land had changed in recent years, for he did not strike the stream where he looked to find it, only a few miles southwards from their start. The morning was passing towards noon, and still the company wandered and scrambled in a barren country of red stones. Nowhere could they see any gleam of water or hear any sound of it. All was bleak and dry. Their hearts sank. They saw no living thing, and not a bird was in the sky. But what the night would bring, if it caught them in that lost land, none of them cared to think. Suddenly Gimli, who had pressed on ahead, called back to them. Moria of mine! No, that's not what he said. Okay. To troll? Yeah, bro, don't do that. That'd be dumb. He was standing on a knoll and pointing to... Sorry. Ever since I was sick, like, last week, like, my nose is, like, I've been slightly congested. It's, like, it's weird. I get sick for, like, a couple of days, and it just feels like some of the symptoms just sit with me for, like, too fucking long for some reason. It's annoying. Sorry, sniffing into the mic is gross. Okay. Okay. Clear throat. He was standing on a knoll and pointing to the right. Hurrying up, they saw below them a deep and narrow channel. It was empty and silent, and hardly a trickle of water flowed among the brown and red-stained stones of its bed. But on the near side there was a path, much broken and decayed, that wound its way among the ruined walls and paving stones of an ancient high road. Ah, here it is, at last, said Gandalf. This is where the stream ran, Ciranon, the gate stream, they used to call it. But what has happened to the water, I cannot guess. It used to be swift and noisy. Come, we must hurry on. We are late. The company were footsore. What the fuck? Okay, new word. The company were footsore and tired, but they trudged doggedly along the rough and winding track for many miles. The sun turned from the noon and began to go west. After a brief halt and a hasty meal, they went on again. Before them the mountains frowned, but their path lay in a deep trough. but their path lay in a deep trough of land, and they could see only the higher shoulders and the far eastward peaks. At length they came to a sharp bend. There the road, which had been veering southwards between the brink of the channel and a steep fall of the land to the left, turned and went due east again. Rounding the corner, they saw before them a low cliff, some 5 fathoms high, with a broken and jagged top. Over it a trickling water dripped, through a wide cleft that seemed to have been carved out by a fall that had once been strong and full. "Indeed, yes, I'm Gandalf. Indeed, things have changed," said Gandalf. "But there is no mistaking the place. There is all that remains of the stair falls. If I remember right, there was a flight of steps cut into the rock at their side, but the main road wound away left and climbed up, with several loops, up to the level ground." I butchered that sentence. "But the main road round up, okay. If I remember right, there was a flight of steps cut into the rock at their side. The main road wound away left and climbed with several loops up to the level ground at the top. There used to be a shallow valley beyond the falls, right up to the walls of Moria, and the Cyrano flowed through it, with the road beside it. Let us go and see what things are like now." They found the stone steps without difficulty, and Gimli sprang swiftly up them, followed by Gandalf and Frodo. When they reached the top, they saw that they could go no further that way, and the reason for the drying up of the gate stream was revealed. Behind them, the sinking sun filled the cool western sky with glimmering gold. Before them stretched a dark, still lake. Neither sky nor sunset was reflected on its sullen surface. The Cyrano had been dammed and had filled all the valley. Beyond the ominous water were reared vast cliffs, their stern faces pallid in the fading light, final and impassable. No sign of gate or entrance, not a fissure or crack could Frodo see in the frowning stone. "There are the walls of Moria," said Gandalf, pointing across the water. "And there the gate stood once upon a time, the elven door at the end of the road from Holland, by which we have come, but this way is blocked. None of the company, I guess, will wish to swim this gloomy water at the end of the day. It has an unwholesome look. We must find a way round the northern edge," said Gimli. "The first thing for the company to do is to climb up by the main path and see where that will lead us. Even if there were no lake, we could not get our baggage pony up this stair." "Not Pone Bill. We need Pone Bill." "But in any case, we cannot take the poor beast into the mines," said Gandalf. "They can't take Pone Bill into the mines. No. They have to leave Pone Bill behind." That's pretty frickin' sad, in my opinion. I can't believe we can't bring Pone Bill. The road under the mountains is a dark road, and there are places narrow and steep which he cannot tread, even if we can." "Poor old Bill," said Frodo. "I had not thought of that. And poor Sam. I wonder what he will say." "I'm sorry," said Gandalf. "Poor Bill has been a useful companion, and it goes to my heart to turn him adrift now. I would have travelled lighter and brought no animal, least of all this one that Sam is fond of. If I had had my way, I feared all along that we should be obliged to take this road." No. No. Pone Bill. Pone Bill. No. That's sad. The day was drawing to its end, and cold stars were glinting in the sky high above the sunset, when the company, with all the speed they could, climbed up the slopes and reached the side of the lake. In breadth, it looked to be no more than 2 or 3 furlongs at the widest point. How far it stretched away southward they could not see in the failing light, but its northern end was no more than half a mile from where they stood, and between the stony ridges that enclosed the valley and the water's edge there was a rim of open ground. They hurried forward, for they had still a mile or 2 to go before they could reach the point on the far shore that Gandalf was making for, and then he had still to find the doors. Gosh darn it, this is why I mute group chats. God damn it. Because everyone's saying stuff and my phone's just on vibration mode and it's like, golly gee willikers. What in the jeebers creepers? Sorry, I'm muting this chat. Sorry. Muting it. Okay. Whoop. I do, yeah, that was in the movies. Hopefully he lived and thrived in that hostile environment. He definitely died. Definitely not. Definitely not. Pone Bill's kind of a menace, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't die like that, you know? He's a tough cookie. Okay, where the flying fuck, where were we? God, I got all these text messages. God damn it. It distracted me. Yeah, the day was drawing to its end. Have I read this? Fuck, I completely forgot. The day was drawing to its end, and the cold stars were glinting in the sky high above the sunset when the company, yeah, okay, we read this, climbed to the slopes and read to the side of the lake. The breath of where the 2, 3, 4. He had still to find the doors. When they came to the northernmost corner, okay. Pone Bill did tell those wolves to eat shit. He was there for the battle. Did you not see him hooving the wolves in their brains? He was brain hooving those wolves. He was with his hooves. Did you not hear that? I read that sentence. I remember reading the sentence about Pone Bill hooving the wolves in their brains. I remember that. That happened for sure. Definitely was written. Tolkien's words, not mine, for sure. Definitely is what happened. When they came to the northernmost corner of the lake, they found a narrow creek that barred their way. It was green and stagnant, thrust out like a slimy arm towards the enclosing hills. Gimli strode forward, undeterred, and found that the water was shallow, no more than ankle deep at the edge. Behind him they walked in file, threading their way with care, for under the weedy pools were sliding and greasy stones, and the footing was treacherous. Frodo shuddered with disgust at the touch of the dark, unclean water on his feet, because these frickin' hobbits are barefoot all the time. Gross, dude. Gross. He definitely did hoove those wolves' brains. Yeah. While Sam was singing about the splattering of the wolves' brains on Pone Bill's glistening hooves. That's what the song was. As Sam, the last of the company, speaking of which, as Sam, the last of the company, led Pone Bill up onto the led. I can't say it. I try to. It says just Bill, led Bill, but I have to read it as Pone Bill, and I can't do it with a straight face. Okay. Uh, and Sam and Frodo held hands. Yeah. While Paul and Bill was stamping on wolf brains in the firelight. Okay. Okay, I can't. Okay. Okay, we need to focus. We need to focus on the reading. Let's see. Let's distract myself. I think my videos lost momentum, unfortunately. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of momentum. If this video doesn't get more views than my Gandalf video, I'm gonna be pissed. I mean, even though that Gandalf video is good, this one it's just not gonna be as good. This one got me more subs at least, you know. Okay. All right. Okay. We are going to continue reading now. I distracted myself with stuff. So, as Sam, the last of the company, led Pone Bill up onto the dry ground on the far side, there came a soft sound, a swish, followed by a plop, as if a fish had disturbed the still surface of the water. Turning quickly, they saw ripples, black, edged with shadow, in the waning light. Great rings were widening outwards from a point far out on the lake. There was a bubbling noise, and then silence. The dusk deepened, and the last gleams of the sunset were veiled in cloud. Gandalf now pressed on at a great pace, and the others followed as quickly as they could. They reached the strip of dry land between the lake and the cliffs. It was narrow, often hardly a dozen yards across, and encumbered with fallen rock and stones, but they found a way, hugging the cliff and keeping as far from the dark water as they might. A mile southwards, along the shore, they came upon holly trees. Stumps and dead boughs were rotting in the shallows. The remains, it seemed, of old thickets, or of a hedge that had once lined the road across the drowned valley. But close under the cliffs there stood, still strong and living, two tall trees, larger than any trees of holly that Frodo had ever seen or imagined. Their great roots spread from the wall to the water. Under the looming cliffs, they had looked like mere bushes when seen far off from the top of the stair, but now they towered overhead, stiff, dark, and silent, throwing deep night shadows about their feet, standing like sentinel pillars at the end of the road. "Well, here we are at last," said Gandalf. Here the elven way from the Holland ended. Holly was the token of the people of that land, and they planted it here to mark the end of their domain, for the west door was made chiefly for their use in their traffic with the lords of Moria. Those were happier days, when there was still close friendship at times between folk of different race, even between dwarves and elves. "It was not the fault of the dwarves that the friendship waned," said Gimli. "I have not heard that it was the fault of the elves," said Legolas. "I have heard both," said Gandalf, "and I will not give judgment now, but I beg you to, Legolas and Gimli, at least to be friends, and to help me. I need you both. The doors are shut and hidden, and the sooner we find them, the better. Night is at hand." Yeah, monster time. I know. There's like a octopus monster. I haven't seen it in a while. I can't remember. It was an octopus monster with tentacles or something. I think it like grabs Frodo and hucks him around, you know? I don't. Turning to the others, he said, While while I am set, while I am searching, will you each make ready to enter the mines? For here I fear we must say for here I fear we must say farewell to our good beast of burden. No, Pone Bill! You must lay aside much of that. You must lay aside much of the stuff that we brought against bitter weather. You will not need it inside, nor, I hope, when we come through and journey on down into the south. Instead, each of us must take a share of what the pony carried, especially especially the food and the water skins. But you can't leave poor old Pone Bill behind in this forsaken place, Mr. Gundolf, cried Sam, angry and distressed. I won't have it, and that's flat, after he's come so far and all. I'm sorry, Sam, said the wizard, but when the door opens, I do not think you will be able to drag your Bill inside, into the long dark of Moria. You will have to choose between Bill and your master. He'd follow Frodo. I don't know who's saying this. Oh, it's Sam. He'd follow Mr. Frodo into a dragon's den if I let him, protested Sam. It'd be nothing short of murder to turn him loose with all these wolves about. Sam singing about no songs, please. It will be short of murder, I hope, said Gandalf. He laid his hand on the pony's head and spoke in a low voice. Go, with words of God and guiding on you, he said. You are a wise beast, and have learned much in Rivendell. Make your ways to places where you can find grass, and so come in time to Elrond's house. Or wherever you wish to go. There, Sam. There, Sam. He will have quite as much chance of escaping wolves and getting home as we have. Sam stood sullenly by Sam stood sullenly by the pony and returned no answer. Bill, seeming to understand well what was going on, nuzzled up to him, putting his nose to Sam's ear. Sam burst into tears and fumbled with the straps, unladening all the ponies' packs, and throwing them on the ground. The others sorted out the goods, making a pile of all that could be left behind, and dividing up the rest. When this was done, they turned to watch Gandalf. He appeared to have done nothing. He was standing between two trees, gazing at the blank wall of the cliff, as if he would bore a hole into it with his eyes. Gimli was wandering about, tapping stone here and there with his axe. Legolas was pressed against the rock, as if listening. Well, here we are and all ready, said Merry. But where are the doers? I can't see any sign of them. Oh, what kind of accent is that? Doors. But where are the doors? I can't see any sign of them. Dwarf doors are not made to be seen when shut. Dwarf doors are not made to be Dwarf doors are not made to be seen when shut, said Gimli. They are invisible, and their own markers cannot find them or open them if their secret is forgotten. But this door was not made to be a secret known only to dwarves, said Gandalf, coming suddenly to life and turning around. Unless things are altogether changed, eyes that know to look for may discover the signs. He walked forward to the wall, right between the shadow of the trees. There was a smooth space. Over this he passed his hands, to and fro, muttering words under his breath. Then he stepped back. "Look," he said. "Can you see anything now?" The moon now shone upon the gray face of the rock, but they could see nothing else for a while. Then slowly on the surface, where the wizard's hands had pressed. You're Bostonian. Sorry, what am I? Oh, I'm yawning now. Oh, okay. I don't know why I'm yawning. Fuck. God damn it, this thing is too high. But if it's not quite high enough, then it is annoying. Okay. You don't know what I'm talking about. I just said that, and you have no clue what I'm talking about. It's the arm on my chair. It's okay. That's all you get. Okay. Okay. His hands pass over something. That's where I was. Where was I? Sorry. Sorry. Where the wizard's hands had passed, faint lines appeared, like slender veins of silver running in the stone. At first they were no more than pale gossamer threads, so fine that they only twinkled fitfully where the moon had caught them, but steadily they grew broader and clearer until their design could be guessed. At the top, as high as Gandalf could reach, was an arch of interlacing letters in an elvish character. Below, though the threads were in places blurred or broken, the outline could be seen of an anvil and a hammer surmounted by a crown with 7 stars. Beneath these again were 2 trees, each bearing crescent moons. More clearly than all else, there shone forth in the middle of the door a single star with many rays. "And there are the emblems of Durin," cried Gimli. "And there is the tree of the High Elves," said Legolas. And there is the star of the House of Fëanor, and there is the star of the House of Fëanor," said Gandalf. They are wrought of Ichildin, that mirrors only starlight and moonlight, and sleeps until it is touched by one who speaks words now long forgotten in Middle-earth. It is long since I heard them, and I thought deeply before I could recall any of them to my mind. "What does the writing say?" asked Frodo, who was trying to decipher the inscription on the arch. "I thought I knew the elf letters, but I cannot read these." "These words are in the elven tongue of the West Middle-earth in the elder days," answered Gandalf. "But they do not say anything of importance to us. They only say, 'The doors of Durin, Lord of Moria, speak, friend, and enter.' And underneath, small and faint, is written, 'I, Narvi, made them. Celebrimbor of Holland drew these signs.'" "What does it mean by 'speak, friend, and enter'?" asked Merry. "That is plain enough," said this is Gimli. "That is plain enough," said Gimli. "If you are a friend, speak the password, and the doors will open, and then you can enter." "Yes, yes," said Gandalf. "These doors are probably governed by words. Some dwarf gates will open only at special times, for particular persons, and some have locks and keys that are still needed when all necessary times and words are known. These doors have no key. In the days of Durin, they were not secret. They usually stood open, and door words sat here. But if they were shut, any who knew the opening word could speak it and pass in. At least, so it is recorded. Is it not, Gimli?" It is, said the dwarf. But what the word was it? But what the word was, is not remembered. Narvi and his craft, and all his kindred, have vanished from the earth. But do not you know the word, Gandalf? Do not you know the word, Gandalf? Asked Boromir in surprise. No, said the wizard. The others looked dismayed. Only Aragorn, who knew Gandalf well, remained silent and unmoved. Then what was the use of bringing us to this accursed spot? Cried Boromir, glancing back with a shudder at the dark water. You told us that you had once passed through the mines. How could that be if you did not know how to enter? The answer to your first question, Boromir, said the wizard, is that I do not know the word yet, but we shall soon see. And, he added, with a glint in his eyes, under their bristling brows, you may ask what it is. And you may ask, what is the use of my deeds when they are proved useless? As for your other question, do you doubt my tale, or have you no wits left? I did not enter this way. I came from the east. If you wish to know, I will tell you that these doors open outwards. From the inside, you may thrust them open with your hands. From the outside, nothing will move them, save the spell of command. They cannot be forced inwards. What are you going to do, then? Asked Pippin, undaunted by the wizard's bristling brows. Knock on the doors with your head, Peregrine Took, said Gandalf. But if that does not shatter them, and I am allowed a little peace from foolish questions, I will seek for the opening words. I once knew every spell in all the tongues of elves or men or orcs that was ever used for such a purpose. I can still remember 10 score of them without searching in my mind, but only a few trials, I think, will be needed. I shall not have to call on Gimli for words of the secret dwarf tongue that they teach to none. The opening words were elvish, like the writing on the arch. That seems certain. Gandalf is sassy, dude. Yeah, this is like the equivalent, right? It's so obvious. It's so obvious that nobody even thinks about it. It's like the password is password, but everyone's like, it can't be password, surely. It's got to be some ancient elvish thing. That's what Gandalf's thinking. He's like, this is going to be, I'm going to use all my amazing wizard intellect to solve this puzzle, and you will all be grateful for everything I did for you. Gosh. Okay. He stepped up to the rock again and lightly touched with his staff the silver star in the middle beneath the sign of the anvil. Anon ed Helen edrohi hamen, venas no gothrim last obeth lamen, he said in a commanding voice. The silver lines faded, but the blank gray stone did not stir. Many times he repeated these words in a different order, or varied them. Then he tried other spells, one after another, speaking now faster and louder, now soft and slow. Then he spoke many single words of elvish speech. Nothing happened. The cliff towered into the night. The countless stars were kindled. The wind blew cold, and the doors stood fast. It's not password, it's password. This is like the when it was like in the office and they're trying to guess Michael's password they're trying to guess Dwight's password or something, and it was like and it was something stupid, I can't remember. This is like when Colby's trying to hack into my account, and he's trying to guess what password I'm thinking about. No. Again, Gandalf approached the wall, and lifting up his arms, he spoke in tones of command and rising wrath. Edro. Candle. Edro. Edro. He cried, and struck the rock with his staff. Open! Open! He shouted, and followed it with the same command in every language that had ever been spoken in the west of Middle-earth. Then he threw his staff on the ground and sat down in silence. Wow, what a sassy fool. What a sassy beats for life. At that moment, from far off, the wind bore into their listening ears the howling of wolves. Pone Bill started in fear, and Sam sprang to his side and whispered softly to him. Pone Bill, it's okay, Pone Bill. It's okay, Mr. Pone. You'll be fine, Mr. Pone. Sorry. Do not let him run away, said Boromir. It seems that we shall need him still, if the wolves do not find us. How I hate this foul pool. He stopped and picked up a large stone. He cast it far into the dark water. The stone vanished with a soft slap, but at the same instant there was a swish and a bubble. Great rippling rings formed on the surface out beyond where the stone had fallen. They moved slowly towards the foot of the cliff. Why did you do that, Boromir? Said Frodo. I hate this place too, and I am afraid. I don't know of what, not of wolves, or the dark behind the doors, but of something else. I am afraid of the pool. Don't disturb it. I wish we could get away, said Merry. Why doesn't Gandalf do something quick? Said Pippin. Gandalf took no notice of them. He sat with his head bowed, either in despair or in anxious thought. The mournful howling of the wolves was heard again. The ripples on the water grew and came closer. Some were already lapping on the shore. Nosing with a suddenness that startled them all. The wizard sprang to his feet. He was laughing. Ha ha, I have it, he cried. Of course, absurdly simple, like most riddles when you see the answer. He picked up his staff and stood before the rock and said in a clear voice, Melon. The star shone out briefly and faded again. Then silently, a great doorway was outlined, though not a crack or joint had been visible before. Slowly, I thought it was Frodo. Wasn't it Frodo in the movies that did it? Wasn't it Frodo? The star shone out briefly and faded again. Then silently, a great doorway was outlined, though not a crack or joint had been visible before. Slowly, it divided in the middle and swung outwards, inch by inch, until both doors lay back against the wall. Through the opening, a shadowy stair could be seen climbing steeply up, but beyond the lower steps, the darkness was deeper than the night. The company stared in wonder. I was wrong, after all, said Gandalf, and Gimli too. Merry, of all people, was on the right track. The opening word was inscribed on the archway all the time. The translation would have been, say, friend, and enter. I had only to speak the Elvish word for friend, and the doors opened. Quite simple. Too simple for a learned lawmaster in these suspicious days. Those were happier times. Now, let us go. Oh, yeah. I feel like it was like Frodo, like, speak friend and enter. What's the Elvish word for friend? Yeah, I feel like you're right. That is what happened. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Frodo. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right, here they go into the mines of Moria. In the mine of Moria. He strode forward. No, okay, that's... He strode forward and set his foot on the lowest step. But at that moment, several things happened. Frodo felt something seize him by the ankle, and he fell with a cry. Pone Bill gave a wild neigh of fear and turned tail, dashing away alongside the lake. Dashing away along the lakeside into the darkness. Sam leaped after him, and then hearing Frodo's cry, he ran back again, weeping and cursing. The others swung round and saw the waters of the lake seething, as if a host of snakes were swimming up from the southern end. Out from the water, a long, sinuous tentacle had crawled. It was pale green and luminous and wet. Its fingered end had hold of Frodo's foot and was dragging him into the water. Sam, on his knees, was now slashing at it with a knife. The arm let go of Frodo, and Sam pulled him away, crying out for help. 20 other arms came rippling out. The dark water boiled, and there was a hideous stench. "Into the gateway! Up the stairs! Quick!" shouted Gandalf, leaping back, rousing them from the horror that seemed to have rooted all but Sam to the ground where they stood. He drove them forward. They were just in time. Sam and Frodo were only a few steps up, and Gandalf had just begun to climb when the groping tentacles writhed across the narrow shore and fingered the cliff wall and the doors. One came wriggling over the threshold, glistening in the starlight. Gandalf turned and paused. If he was considering what word would close the gate again from within, there was no need. Many coiling arms seized the doors on either side, and with horrible strength swung them round. With a shattering echo they slammed, and all light was lost. A noise of rending and crashing came dully through the ponderous stone. Sam, clinging to Frodo's arm, collapsed on a step in the black darkness. "Poor old Bill," he said in a choking voice. "Poor old Phil. Poor old Bill. Wolves and snakes. But the snakes were too much for him. I had to choose, Mr. Frodo. I had to come back with you." They heard Gandalf go back down the steps and thrust his staff against the doors. There was a quiver in the stone, and the stairs trembled, but the doors did not open. "Well, well," said the wizard. "The passage is blocked behind us now, and there is only one way out, on the other side of the mountains. I fear from the sounds that boulders have been piled up, and the trees uprooted, thrown across the gate. I am sorry, for the trees were beautiful, and had stood so long." I felt that something horrible was near from the moment that I felt that something was... Read good, Will! Fuck. Okay. "I felt that something horrible was near from the moment that my foot first touched the water," said Frodo. "What was that thing? Or were there many of them?" "I do not know," answered Gandalf, "but the arms were all guided by one purpose. Something has crept or has been driven out of the dark waters under the mountains. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world." He did not speak aloud his thought that whatever it was that dwelt in the lake had seized on Frodo first among all the company. Sam just said he had chose Sam over Pone Bill, but he had to think about it. Sorry, okay. Boromir muttered under his breath, but the echoing stone magnified the sound to a hoarse whisper that all could hear. In my deep places, in the deep places of the world, and further, we are going against my wish. Who will lead us now in this deadly dark? Who will lead us now in this deadly dark? I will, said Gandalf, and Gimli shall walk with me. Follow my staff. As the wizard pressed on ahead, up the great steps, he held his staff aloft. From its tip there came a faint radiance. The wide stairways was sound and undamaged. 200 steps they counted, broad and shallow, and at the top they found an arched passage with a level floor leading on into the dark. Let us sit and rest, and have something to eat, here on the landing, since we can't find a dining room, said Frodo. He had begun to shake off the terror of the clutching arm, and suddenly he felt extremely hungry. The proposal was welcomed by all, and they sat down on the upper steps, dim figures in the gloom. After they had eaten, Gandalf gave them each a third sip of Miruvor of Rivendell. It will not last much longer, I am afraid, he said. But I think we need it after that horror at the gate, and unless we have great luck, we shall need all that is left before we see the other side. Go carefully with the water, too. There are many streams and wells in the mines, but they should not be touched. We may not have a chance of filling our skins in bottles till we come down into Dimrill Dale. How long is that going to take us? Asked Frodo. I cannot say, answered Gandalf. It depends on many chances, but going straight, without mishap or losing our way, we shall take 3 or 4 marches, I expect. It cannot be less than 40 miles from West Door to Eastgate in a direct line, and the road may wind much. After only a brief rest, they started on their way again. All were eager to get their journey over as quickly as possible, and were willing, tired as they were, to go on marching still for several hours. Gandalf walked in front as before. In his left hand he held up his glimmering staff, the light of which just showed the ground before his feet. In his right he held his sword, Glamdring. Behind him came Gimli, his eyes glinting in the dim light as he turned his head from side to side. Behind the dwarf walked Frodo. He had drawn the short sword, Sting. No gleam came from the blades of Sting or of Glamdring, and that was some comfort. For being the work of elvish smiths in elder days, these swords shone with a cold light, if any orcs were near at hand. For being the work of elvish smiths in the elder days, these swords shone with a cold light, if any orcs were near at hand. Behind Frodo went Sam, and after him Legolas, and the young hobbits, and Boromir. In the dark at the rear, grim and silent, walked Aragorn. The passage twisted round a few turns, and then began to descend. It went steadily down for a long while before it came level once again. The air grew hot and stifling, but it was not foul, and at times they felt currents of cooler air upon their faces, issuing from half-guessed openings in the walls. There were many of these. In the pale ray of the wizard's staff, Frodo caught glimpses of stairs and arches, and of other passages and tunnels, sloping up or running steeply down, or opening blankly dark on either side. It was bewildering beyond hope of remembering. Whoop. Gimli aided Gandalf very little, except by his stout courage. At least he was not, as were most of the others, troubled by the mere darkness in itself. Often the wizard consulted him at points where the choice of ways was doubtful, but it was always Gandalf who had the final word. The mines of Moria were vast and intricate beyond the imagination of Gimli, glowing sun. Dwarf of the mountain race, though he was. To Gandalf, the far-off memories of a journey long before were now of little help. But even in the gloom, and despite all windings of the road, he knew whither he wished to go, and he did not falter, as long as there was a path that led towards his goal. "Do not be afraid," said Aragorn. There was a pause longer than usual, and Gandalf and Gimli were whispering together. The others were crowded behind, waiting anxiously. "Do not be afraid. I have been with him on many a journey, if never on one so dark, and there are tales in Rivendell of greater deeds of his than any that I have seen. He will not go astray, if there is any path to find. He has led us in here against our fears, but he will lead us out again, at whatever cost to himself. He is sure of finding the way home in a blind night than the cats of Queen Berthiel." Okay, sorry. Gandalf has the powers of mysterious, just knowing things. He just is able to be like, yeah, actually, you know what? This is probably where we ought to go here. Yeah, probably this way. That's probably the way. And then it is. And he's just a pathfinding wizard. That's what he does, you know? It was well for the company that they had such a guide. They had no fuel, nor any means of making torches. In the desperate scramble at the doors, many things had been left behind, but without any light, they would soon have to come to grief. There were not only many roads to choose from, there were also in many places holes and pitfalls and dark wells beside the path in which their passing feet echoed. There were fissures and chasms in the walls and floor, and every now and then a crack would open right before their feet. The widest was more than 7 feet across, and it was long before Pippin could summon enough courage to leap over the dreadful gap. The noise of churning water came up from far below, as if some great mill wheel was turning in the depths. "Rope," muttered Sam. "I knew I'd want it, if I hadn't got it. I knew I'd want it, if I hadn't got it." Sorry, sometimes I just feel like a little frickin' goblin, you know? Type shit. Hello, 6-3 Daydream. Welcome to the stream. I feel like you're one of my new subscribers. One of my new from my video. Yo, what up? We're reading Lord of the Rings. Okay, where am I at? I lost my place. As these dangers became more frequent and their march became slower, already they seemed to have been tramping on, endlessly to the mountain's roots. They were more than weary, and yet there seemed no comfort in the thought of halting anywhere. Frodo's spirits had risen for a while after his escape, and after food and a draught of cordial, but now a deep uneasiness, growing to dread, crept over him again, though he had been healed in Rivendell of the knife stroke, because I got that shit, you know. I know my shit. Lord of the Rings. That's honestly a good point. I didn't think about that. Lord of the Rings on May 4th is kind of the wrong thing, isn't it? I mean, I read every Monday. Okay, it's what I do. Okay, at this time, this is just what I do. All right. I guess if I had thought about it, maybe we could party watch. We could party watch just Star Wars, I guess. We could have done that instead since it's May 4th. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, dude. We're all about the Lord of the Rings here. Screw Didn't there used to be a big rivalry between the Lord of the Rings nerds and the Star Wars nerds or something? Or no, it's probably Star Wars and Star Trek, right? I don't know. Okay. Where are we? Okay, sorry. Fuck, I totally got lost in reading chat. I had no idea where the hell we are. Fantasy only. I actually like fantasy. Actually, I prefer. Fun fact: I prefer fantasy sci-fi. Okay. There's this setting in in Dungeons and Dragons called Spelljammer, and it's like fantasy, but the ships can go through space, and so it's like bows and swords and magic, but also it's in space, and that is my shit. Okay, that's what I like. I like both of them. I want them to mesh together into a beautiful unity. That's what I want. That's what I want. I haven't gotten the chance to play a Spelljammer campaign. It's very sad. Star Wars has plenty books too. Oh yeah, that's true. I guess I can find a Star Wars book. The Nerd War was more Star Wars versus Harry Potter. Yeah, that might have been it. Actually, both sides. Yeah, that's me. I actually do like both sides. I do actually. Fuck, I still don't know where I am at. Okay. Okay, where were we? Let's see. Rob, I know I'd wanted it. I know I'd get it. It had been healed. Okay, that's right. Okay. Though he had been healed in Rivendell of knife stroke, the grim wound had not been without effect. His senses were sharper and more aware of things that he could not be seen. His senses were sharper and more aware of things that could not be seen. One sign of change that he soon had noticed was that he could see more in the dark than any of his companions, save perhaps Gandalf. And he was in any case the bearer of the ring. It hung upon its chain against his breast, and at whiles it seemed a heavy weight. He felt the certainty of evil ahead and of evil following, but he said nothing. He gripped tighter on the hilt of his sword and went on doggedly. Actually, both sides. Sorry, I love that. That's me. Okay. A company behind him spoke seldom, and then only in hurried whispers. There was no sound but the sound of their own feet, the dull stomp of Gimli's dwarf boots, the heavy tread of Boromir, the light step of Legolas, the soft, scarce-heard patter of hobbit feet, and in the rear, the slow, firm footfalls of Aragorn, with his long stride. When they halted for a moment, they heard nothing at all, unless it were occasionally a faint trickle and drip of unseen water. Yet Frodo began to hear, or to imagine, that he heard something else, like the faint fall of soft, bare feet. It was never loud enough or near enough for him to feel certain that he heard it, but once it had started, it never stopped, while the company was moving. But it was not an echo, for when they halted, it pattered on for a little all by itself, and then grew still. Oh my God, there's something following them. Oh my goodness gracious. It is just like, just by the way, it's just like Tolkien to describe the sound of the footsteps of every member of the Fellowship. That is what Tolkien does. I was just like, here we go. Gimli. Okay, yeah. Boromir. Okay, Legolas. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we got the Hobbit feet. We got Aragorn. I'm surprised. He didn't describe Gandalf's footsteps, though. So I guess he didn't hit all of them. But he didn't hit all of them. But he went down the list of what everyone's footsteps sound like. Sorry. I love making fun of Tolkien. It's my pastime. Hello, Bunny. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining us here at Lord of the Rings on May the 4th. Okay. It was nightfall when they had entered the mines. They had been going for several hours, with only brief halts, when Gandalf came to his first serious check. Before him stood a wide arch, opening into 3 passages. All led in the same direction, eastwards, but the left-hand passage plunged down, while the right hand climbed up, and the middle way seemed to run on, smooth and level, but very narrow. "I have no memory of this place at all," said Gandalf, standing uncertainly under the arch. He held up his staff in the hope of finding some marks or inscription that might help his choice, but nothing of the kind ways was to be seen. "I am too wary to decide," he said, shaking his head, "and I expect that you are all as wary as I am, or warier. We had better halt here for what is left of the night. You know what I mean. In here it is ever dark, but outside the late moon is riding westward, and the middle night has passed." Oh God, here we go. "Poor old Pone Bill." "Poor old Pone Bill," said Sam. "I wonder where he is. I hope those wolves haven't gotten him to it. I hope those wolves haven't gotten him yet." "Pone Bill! Oh, Mr. Pone Bill! What are you doing, Pone?" I know. I should have you're right, I should have sang the footsteps. You're right. That would have been better. It would have been more Tolkien-like. To the left of the great arch, they found a stone door. It was half closed, but swung back easily to a gentle thrust. Beyond, there seemed to lie a wide chamber cut in the rock. "Steady, steady," cried Gandalf, as Merry and Pippin pushed forward, glad to find a place where they could rest with at least more feeling of shelter than in the open passage. "Steady, you do not know what is inside yet. I will go first." He went in cautiously, and the others filed behind. "There, there," he said, pointing with his staff to the middle of the floor. Before his feet, they saw a large round hole, like the mouth of a well. Broken and rusty chains lay at the edge and trailed down into the black pit. Fragments of stone lay near. "One of you might have fallen in, and still be wondering when you were going to strike the bottom," said Aragorn to Merry. Let the guide go first, while you have one." "This seems to have been a guard room, made for the watching of the 3 passages," said Gimli. "That hole was plainly a well for the guards' use, covered with a stone lid, but the lid is broken, and we must all take care in the dark." Pippin felt curiously attracted by the wall, while the others were unrolling blankets and making beds against the walls of the chamber, as far as possible from the hole in the floor. He crept to the edge and peered over. A chill air seemed to strike his face, rising from the invisible depths. Moved by a sudden impulse, he groped for a loose stone and let it drop. He felt his heart beat many times before there was any sound. Then, far below, as if the stone had fallen into deep water in some cavernous place, there came a plunk, very distant, but magnified and repeated in the hollow shaft. "What was that?" "What was that?" said Gandalf. He was relieved when Pippin confessed what he had done, but he was angry, and Pippin could see his eye glinting. "Fool of a Took," he growled. "This is a serious journey, not a hobbit walking party. Throw yourself in next time, and then you'll be no further nuisance. Now, be quiet." "Fool of a Took, fool of a Took." I prefer curiously attracted to the wall. Like, "Hey, wall, how you doing?" Like, "Oh, that's a nice wall there. Looking mighty fine, mighty smooth for a wall. Or at least around these parts. Sorry. Okay. Not Pippin flirting with the wall. Now be quiet. Fool of a took. I remember that line. Fool of a took. Nothing more was heard for several minutes, but then there came out of the depths faint knocks. Top, tap, top, top. Okay, that was a I don't like my taps. I didn't do good taps. It says Tom Tap, Tap Tom. That's what it says here. It was supposed to sound like tap. But you write taps out of words, what's it supposed to sound like? Faint knocks. Top, tap, top, top. They stopped, and when the echoes had died away, they were repeated. Tap, 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 of some sort. But after a while, the knocking died away and was not heard again. That was the sound of a hammer, or I have never heard one, said Gimli. Yes, said Gandalf, and I do not like it. It may have nothing to do with Peregrine's foolish stone, but probably something has been disturbed that would have been better left quiet. Pray, do nothing of the kind again. Pray, do nothing of the kind again. Let us hope we shall get some rest without further trouble. You, Pippin, can go on first watch as a reward, he growled as he rolled himself in a blanket. Damn, Gandalf is a grumpy Gus. He's a grumpy Gus. He is a grumpy Gus. Pippin sat miserably by the door in the pitch dark, but he kept on turning round, fearing that some unknown thing would crawl up out of the wall. He wished he could cover the hole, if only with a blanket. But he dared not move or go near it, even though Gandalf seemed to be asleep. Actually, Gandalf was awake. Though lying still and silent, he was deep in thought, trying to recall every memory of his former journey in the mines, and considering anxiously the next course that he should take. A false turn now might be disastrous. After an hour, he rose up and came over to Pippin. Chill, Gandalf. Gosh, bro. You're crazy, my dude. You're crazy, my dude. Get in a corner and have a sleep, my lad, he said in a kindly tone. You want to sleep, I expect. I cannot get a wink, so I may as well do the watching. I know what it is. I know what is the matter with me, he muttered, as he sat down by the door. I need smoke. I have not tasted it since the morning before the snowstorm. The last thing that Pippin saw, as sleep took him, was a dark glimpse of the old wizard huddled on the floor, shielding a glowing chip in his gnarled hands between his knees. The flicker, for a moment, showed his sharp nose and the puff of smoke. It was Gandalf who roused them all from sleep. He had sat and watched all alone for about 6 hours, and had let the others rest. And in the watches I have made up my mind, he said. I do not like the feel of the middle way. I do not like the smell of the left-hand way. There is a foul air down there, or I am no guide. I shall take the right-hand passage. It is time we began to climb up again. For 8 hours. Puff, puff, passed. He didn't pass, bro. He didn't pass the doobie on to Pippin. What an asshole. Pippin just wants a smoke, bro. Why can't you let Pippin have a toke of the smoke? You can tell I do a lot of smoking myself. I'm a big drugman. I consume drugs. I know about the smokers and the smokemans, and how the smoketh smokes. Okay. Okay, where am I at? For 8 hours, not counting 2 brief halts, they marched on and they met no danger, and they heard nothing, and saw nothing but the faint gleam of the wizard's light bobbing like a will-o-wisp in front of them. The passage they had chosen wound steadily upwards, as far as they could judge, and went in great mounting curves. And as it rose, it grew. And as it rose, it grew loftier and wider. There were now no openings to other galleries or tunnels on either side, and the floor was level and sound, without pits or cracks. Evidently, they had struck what once had been an important road, and they went forward quicker than they had done on their first march. In this way, they advanced some 15 miles, measured in a direct line east, though they must have actually walked 20 miles or more. As the road climbed upwards, Frodo's spirits rose a little, but he still felt oppressed. At times he heard, or thought he heard, away behind the company, and beyond the fall and patter of their feet, a following footstep that was not an echo. That's not supposed to be, is that supposed to be, what's his name? Gollum. No, surely not. I can't remember when Gollum shows up, dude. I can't remember. I'm a big drugman. I like to do the drugs, you know. They had marched as far as the hobbits could endure. They marched as far as the hobbits could endure without a rest, and all were thinking of a place where they could sleep. When suddenly the walls to the right and left vanished. They seemed to have passed through some arched doorway into a black and empty space. There was a great draught of warmer air behind them, and before them the darkness was cold on their faces. They halted and crowded anxiously together. He does show up here? Does he? Because I just remember in the Two Towers he's there. Does he show up in the Fellowship of the Ring? They do a lot of talking about him, right? But I guess, like, this is a book, and it's 6 books instead of 3. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Okay, where the fuck am I? I don't know why. Oh, yeah, okay. Gandalf seemed pleased. I chose the right way, he said. At last, we are coming to the habitable parts, and I guess that we are not far now from the eastern side, but we are high up, a good deal higher than the Dimrill Gate, unless I am mistaken. From the feeling of the air, we must be in a wide hall. I will now risk a little real light. He raised his staff, and for a brief instant there was a blaze like a flash of lightning. Great shadows sprang up and fled, and for a second they saw a vast roof far above their heads, upheld by many mighty pillars hewn of stone. Before them, and on either side, stretched a huge empty hall. Its black walls, polished and smooth as glass, flashed and glittered. 3 other entrances they saw, dark black arches, one straight before them eastwards, and one on either side. Then the light went out. Frodo asks who's following them, and then Gandalf says he's known it was Gollum the whole time. Oh, okay. Because Gollum wants the ring. He wants his precious. Gollum. I want my precious. I'm Gollum. What does Gollum sound like? We'll see when we get there, I guess. It's probably like that. Gollum. My precious. My precious. I guess we'll see. Fuck. Smoothies cross. 3 other entrances they saw. What? 3 other entrances they saw. Dark black arches. Yeah. That is all I shall venture on for the present. That is all I shall venture on for the present, said Gandalf. There used to be great windows on the mountainside, and shafts leading out to the light in the upper reaches of the mines. I think we have reached them now, but it is night outside again, and we cannot tell until morning. If I am right, tomorrow we may actually see the morning peeping in. But in the meanwhile, we had better go no further. Let us rest if we can. Things have gone well so far, and the greater part of the dark road is over. But we are not through yet, and it is a long way down to the gates that open on the world. The company spent that night in the great cavernous hall, huddled close together in a corner to escape the drought. There seemed to be a steady inflow of chill air through the eastern archway. All about them, as they lay, hung the darkness, hollow and immense, and they were oppressed by the loneliness and vastness of the dolven halls, and endless branching stairs and passages. The wildest imaginings that dark rumor had ever suggested to the hobbits fell altogether short of the actual dread and wonder of Moria. "There must have been a mighty crowd of dwarves here at one time," said Sam, "and every one of them was busier than badgers for 500 years to make all this, and most in hard rock too. What did they all do it for? They didn't have lives in these darksome holes, surely?" "These are not holes," said Gimli. "This is a great realm, and a city. This is a great realm and city of the Dwarrowdwelve. This is a great realm and city of the Dwarrowdwelve. I don't. Why is it hard to say? Dwarrowdelf. The Dwarrowdelf. The Dwarrowdelf. The Dwarrowdelf. Dwarvendelf. The Dwarrowdelf. The Dwarrowdelf. Okay. This is a great realm and city of the Dwarrowdwelve. I keep wanting to say Dwarrowdwelf. God damn it. This is a great realm and city of the Dwarrowdelf, and of old ways it was not darksome, but full of light and splendor, as is still remembered in some of our songs." He rose. Oh, God. Oh, no. He rose, and standing in the dark, he began to chant it. He began to chant in a deep voice, while the echoes... Why, Gimli? Why? Why? He rose, and standing in the dark, he began to chant in a deep voice, while the echoes ran away into the roof. I can't. Oh, no! Oh, it's a page. It's not 2 pages. It's not 2 pages. It's a page and like a paragraph. Oh, God. God damn it, Tolkien. I thought he had forgotten. I thought he had moved on. I thought he had moved on from the singing. You know? I thought he got it out of his system. And now that this story was getting more intense, and that things were getting serious, that he was going to stop with the singing and the merrymaking. But no. Here we are, deep in the mines of Moria. And Gimli, a new singer, appears. A new performer approaches the stage. Who would have guessed it? Gimli sings. Oh my goodness, what a surprise. What a twist of fate. What a twist of unusual fate. No, it was the elves. Remember, it was the elves. They were like singing like crazy, and Bilbo sang like 5 songs while they were in Rivendell. Bilbo kept singing songs in Rivendell. He couldn't stop singing, which fits his character maybe. So maybe that's better. But oh, fuck. Okay, Gimli. Yeah, I'm Gimli, and I got to sing a whole song like Gimli. The world was young and the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen. No words were lain on stream or stone, when Durin woke and walked alone. He named the nameless hills and dells, he drank from yet untasted wells. He stopped and looked in Miramere, and saw a crown of stars appear, and as gems upon his silver head, above the shadow of his head. I started singing and then started poetry reading. How do you sing? The world was young and the mountains green. No stain yet on the moon was seen. Okay, let's not start over. That's not worth it. Okay. The world was fair and the mountains tall in elder days before the fall of mighty kings on Nargothrond. And Gondolin, who's now beyond. The western seas have passed away. The world was fair on Turin's day. A king he was, on carven throne, in many pillared halls of stone, with golden roof and silver floor, and runes of power upon the door. The light of sun and star and moon, in shining lamps and crystal hewn, undimmed by cloud or shade of night, there shone forever fair and bright. Their hammer on the anvil smote, the chisel clove, and graver wrote. Their forge was blade and bound was hilt. Their tilver mined, the mason built. Their beryl pearl and opal pale, and metal wrought like fish's mail. Buckler and corslet, axe and sword, and shining spears were laid in hoard. Unwearied then were Turin's folk, beneath the mountains music woke, and harpers harped, the minstrels sang, and across and at the gates the trumpets rang. The world is grey, the mountains old, the forge is fire is ashen cold. No harp is rung, no hammer falls. The darkness swells in Durin's halls. The shadow lies upon his tomb, in Moria, in Khazad-dûm. But still the sunken stars appear, in dark and wineless Miramere. There lies his crown, in water deep, till Durin wakes again from sleep. Not much. I didn't sing it. Really. How do you sing in that voice, dude? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to sing in that voice. The world was young and the mountains green. No stain on the moon was seen. No words were lain on stream or stone. I'm not doing it again, okay? That's all we got. That's all you get. All right? If somebody pays me to read this fucking book, I'll figure it out, okay? If somebody pays me to read this book, I'll figure it out. Okay? I like that, said Sam. Loves his singing. As of course, Sam loves his singing. I should like to learn it. In Moria, in Khazad-dûm. But it makes the darkness seem heavier, thinking of all those lamps. Are there piles of jewels and gold lying about here still? Gimli was silent. Having sung his song, he would say no more. Fuck off. You accept it? Wow, thank you. Thank you for accepting it. Piles of jewels, said Gandalf. No, the orcs have often plundered Moria. There is nothing left in the upper halls, and since the dwarves fled, no one dares to seek the shafts and treasuries down in the deep places. They are drowned in water, or in a shadow of fear. Then what do the dwarves want? No. Then what do the dwarves want to come back for? Asked Sam. For Mithril, answered Gandalf. The wealth of Moria was not in gold and jewels, the toys of the dwarves, nor in iron, the servant. Such things they found here, it is true, especially iron, but they did not need to delve for them. All things that they desired they could obtain in traffic. For here alone in the world was found Moria silver, or true silver, as some have called it. Mithril is its elvish. Mithril is the elvish name. The dwarves have a name which they do not tell. It was worth 10 times that of gold, and now it is beyond price, for little is left above ground, and even the orcs dare not delve for it here. The roads lead away north towards Caradros, and down into darkness. The dwarves tell no tale, but even as Mithril was the foundation of their wealth, so also it was their destruction. They delved too greedily and too deep, and disturbed that from which they fled, Durin's bane. Of what they brought to light the orcs have gathered nearly all, and given it in tribute to Sauron, who covets it.
He loves the singing. He does. Apparently Sam's a singer. He likes to sing. He just is shy about it, you know?
Mithril. All folk desired it. It could be beaten like copper and polished like glass, and the dwarves could make it out of metal. And the dwarves could make of it metal, light, and yet harder than tempered steel. Its beauty was like that of common silver, but the beauty of Mithril did not tarnish or grow dim. The elves dearly loved it, and among many uses they made of it Ithildin star moon, which you saw upon the doors. Bilbo had a corselet of mithril rings that Thorin gave him. I wonder what has become of it. Gathering dust still in Michael Delving's Maltham house, I suppose.
What? Cried Gimli, startled out of his silence. A corselet of Moria silver? That was a kingly gift. Yeah, it does, yeah. Carbon fiber. It's carbon fiber. It's silver fiber.
Yes, said Gandalf. I never told him, but its worth was greater than the value of the whole Shire and everything in it.
And now Frodo's wearing it. Frodo's got it right, yeah. He's got it right there. He's just wearing that shit. No big deal.
Frodo said nothing, but he put his hand under his tunic and touched the ring of his mail shirt. He felt staggered to think that he had been walking around with the price of the Shire under his jacket. Had Bilbo known? He felt no doubt that Bilbo knew quite well. It was indeed a kingly gift, but now his thoughts had been carried away from the dark mines to Rivendell, to Bilbo, and to Bag End in the days while Bilbo was still there. He wished with all his heart that he was back there, and in those days, mowing the lawn, or pottering among the flowers, and that he had never heard of Moria, or Mithril, or the ring.
It's raining! It's raining! I hear the sound of the pitter-patter of rain outside my window. The sound of the pitter-patter of the rain falling upon the car of the parking lot. The windows like a faint pipple, and the metal a faint pangle. That's what Tolkien would say about the rain. Fucking Tolkien. Guy's got to describe everything. We love Tolkien. Sorry, Tolkien. Bless you on in your afterlife or whatever. Okay.
A deep silence fell. One by one, the others fell asleep. Frodo was on guard. If it were a breath that came in through unseen doors out of deep places, dread came as if it were a breath that came in through unseen doors out of deep places. Dread came over him. His hands were cold, and his brow damp. He listened. All his mind was given to listening, and nothing else, for 2 slow hours. He heard no sound, not even the imagined echo of a footfall. His watch was nearly over when, far off, where he guessed that the western archway stood, he fancied he could see two pale points of light, almost like luminous eyes. He started. His head had nodded. I must have nearly fallen asleep on guard, he thought. I was on the edge of a dream. He stood up and rubbed his eyes, and remained standing, peering into the dark, until he was relieved by Legolas. When he lay down, he quickly went to sleep.
It's so dry there. Dry in Washington? That's tragic.
When he lay down, he quickly went to sleep, but it seemed to him that the dream went on. He heard whispers and saw the two pale points of light approaching slowly. He woke and found that the others were speaking softly near him, and that a dim light was falling on his face. High above the eastern archway, through a shaft near the roof, came a long, pale gleam, and across the hall, through the northern arch, light also glimmered faint and distantly. Frodo sat up. "Good morning," said Gandalf. "For morning it is again at last. I was right, you see. We are high up on the east side of Moria. Before today is over, we ought to find the great gates and set the waters of Miramir, and see the waters of Miramir lying in the Dimrill Dale before us." "I shall be glad," said Gimli. "I have looked on Moria, and it is very great, but it has become dark and dreadful, and we have found no sign of my kindred. I doubt now that Balin ever came here. After they had breakfasted, Gandalf decided to go on again at once. "We are tired, but we shall rest better when we are outside," he said. "I think that none of us will wish to spend another night in Moria." No, indeed," said Boromir. "Which way shall we take? Yonder eastward arch?" Maybe," said Gandalf. "But I do not know yet exactly where we are, unless I am quite astray. I guess that we are above and to the north of the great gates, and it may not be easy to find the right road down to them. It may not be easy to find the right road down to them. The eastern arch will probably prove to be the way. That we must take. But before we make up our minds, we ought to look about us. Let us go towards the light at that north door. If we could find a window, it would help, but I fear that the light comes only down deep shafts."
Ooh. Ah.
Following his lead, the company passed under the northern arch. They found themselves a wide corridor. As they went along it, the glimmer grew stronger, and they saw that it came through a doorway on their right. It was high and flat-topped, and the stone door was still upon its hinges, standing half open. Beyond it was a large square chamber. It was dimly lit, but to their eyes, after so long a time in the dark, it seemed dazzlingly bright, and they blinked as they entered. Their feet disturbed a deep dust upon the floor, and stumbled among things lying in the doorway, whose shapes they could not at first make out. The chamber was lit by a wide shaft, high in the further eastern wall. It slanted upwards, and, far above, a small square patch of blue sky could be seen. The light of the shaft fell directly on a table in the middle of the room, a single oblong block, about 2 feet high, upon which was laid a great slab of white stone. "It looks like a tomb," muttered Frodo, and bent forwards with a curious sense of foreboding, to look more closely at it. Gandalf came quickly to his side. On the slab, runes were deeply graven. These are Daron's runes, such as were used of old in Moria, said Gandalf. Here is written, in the tongues of men and dwarves, Balin, son of Fondin, lord of Moria. He is dead then, said Frodo. I feared it was so. Gimli cast his hood over his face. I feared it was so. I feared it was so. Gimli cast his hood over his face. Okay. Oh, a mine. It's not a mine, it's a tomb. Leaves from the book of Mazarbul. Some pictures here of some, like, torn pages. We might be at the end of the chapter. We are at the end of the chapter. Chapter 5, The Bridge of Khazad-dûm. Ooh, okay, we're going to stop reading because that was 2 hours. That was 2 hours of reading. Dude, like, the first book I would do 2 chapters a stream, you know, but not this time. This time it's like 1 chapter per stream because each chapter takes so long. That chapter took 2 hours to read. Is it because I'm talking to chat more? I don't know, man, but something's happening, you know? You know what I mean? We're getting these big old chapters. Yeah, it's you. Stop talking to me in my chat. Stop talking to me. I honestly can't tell. I don't think I'm wasting that much time. I'm not wasting. It is well worth the time to talk to chat. It makes the stream way more fun, for sure. It is definitely making it more fun, but it might be making it take longer. This is true. But I don't know. I think the chapters are longer too. I'll be real. I think they are just genuinely longer because this is a massive book, and each book has like 10 to 12 chapters, which is like not that many. Time for another hour, Bunny. Okay, since you insist, I will do it. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. I'm too tired. Bunny, I'm so sorry. I need to stream more though. I haven't been streaming the Deadlock as much because last time I streamed Deadlock, I had a big sad moment. I got a little upset, and it was a little awkward, which is, you know, which doesn't feel great. You know, I'm not a big fan of that. But I don't know. Maybe I could stream some more Deadlock or something. I don't know. I need to come up with something though. I need to come up with something to stream. Something else. My goal is to stream like 2 days, maybe 3 days a week. With a job though, probably more like 2 days a week. Because I only want to stream like 2 days a week and then dedicate the rest of my time to like editing and making videos and stuff. Like shorts, whether that be shorts or like YouTube videos. This video that I just uploaded got me 66 subscribers. 66 subscribers, which was a lot. So the videos are probably worth it, you know? Deadlock is so much confused. Yeah. Yeah, Bunny's a Deadlock gamer. She gets it, but I don't know if anybody else does. I don't know how much of my audience appreciates the Deadlock. Probably not a lot of them. I know, 66 is wild for me. 66 subs in one video. That's far more than I've ever gotten out of a single video, which is great. Which is fantastic. Fantastic. You know, I still got my fingers crossed it'll go viral, but it's not quite doing that. It's not quite going viral. Not yet. I don't know. I don't know if it will at this point. Like, I don't know how it works. Like, I haven't made many videos that have been like especially successful. So I don't know how it works. It could be like it'll just like pop off randomly. Like YouTube will be like it passed the check, and so YouTube's like, okay, we're gonna
we're gonna push it to even more people. You know, the problem is you can like look at the stats of the video, right? And the things that YouTube cares about is something called click-through rate, which is basically like how often somebody clicks on a video. Like when they see, like if your video pops up in their feed, like on like their homepage or on a recommended side panel or whatever, if they click on it, right? And a click-through rate is good. The best click-through rate, you probably want like a 7% click-through rate. This says 2.7 or 2.7%, which is not great. And the engagement is only 2 minutes and 19 seconds, which isn't that much. Like it's pretty good, but it's not the best, you know? But YouTube has all kinds of hidden things that it measures. Like, I don't know if YouTube measures the amount of subscribers that you get. Like, I feel like if YouTube measures the amount of subscribers that you get, then, like, it might be like, wow, this is a great video. But, like, I don't know if it really cares about that, you know? And it has, like, viewer profiles for everybody on the fucking platform, too. So it tends to push your video to people who match your viewer, who you match their viewer profile. So it's like, it might not be that my video is doing good, but with certain people, it's doing really great, you know? So it will push me more to those people that care about that sort of thing, you know? YouTube's very complicated, and it's like a puzzle that you're constantly trying to figure out. And, you know, it's difficult. Yeah, sorry, I just went into a tangent there. You watched it twice? Really? Thank you. That's a good video. I'm proud of that one. It's my whole story, basically. I know TikTok, they'd have big booms overnight because European. Oh, yeah. Probably, I don't think I would have a big boom overnight because of like European audiences. I mean, I guess I might. I mean, wanting to be big on YouTube isn't exclusive to America, you know. It's a very complicated puzzle, and I'm not always big on puzzles, but this is one that I have to figure out. So I'm going to try, you know. I'm going to try. I'm going to try very hard. But this video is a big success. And I had a new perspective on this video, a new way of thinking about it. Because I've watched some advice on content and stuff. And I wanted to, and in this video, I do a few things, a bunch of things. One of the things I did was I planned out the video in reverse, basically, where I planned out the thumbnail, the title of the video and the thumbnail first, right? I timed out the thumbnail and the video, then the title of the video first before I did anything else, right? And then, which wasn't hard because it was just me sitting in a room, so it's not much. And then I planned out the first like few seconds. Like I scripted the first 30 plus seconds out. Like the first few seconds, and then I after I planned out the first few seconds, then I planned out the next like 15 seconds. And then I planned out the next like 30 plus seconds after that. Because the idea with engagement is you keep people interested as they go along. And like my engagement actually wasn't that great. And my click-through rate was also actually not that great. So I did all this planning on this video and it worked out. I got a lot of subs and stuff. It's been great for sure. But I could like apparently I still need to have better ideas maybe. Apparently, this is my puzzle. Yeah, Bonnie, you're a real one. You fuck with puzzles. Do you want to solve this one for me? Actually, do you want to figure this one out for me? And then I could just be goofy on camera and not have to worry about the puzzle part. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is kind of interesting. And then I distinctly created 3 parts in the video. I came up with 3 mistakes because I wanted to have some sort of stepping escalation, right? In the video where I go over specific things that are tangible to the viewer, so people will actually want to keep watching. And then in the background, you know, of the video, I kind of have this B story, this B plot of my journey, you know, like the video is about my mistakes. And then you just have me talking about like my journey and stuff. And And it was an easy video to make, but it wasn't really easy because it hinges off of the fact that I sucked for 15 years. So I took advantage of 15 years of worthlessness to make a half decent video. What a miraculous thing. And it somewhat worked out. This 60 subscribers is what I care about, and this got me like 60 whatever. So, and it'll probably get me some more still. It'll probably still get me more. Yep. Don't be embarrassed. Don't give up. And be consistent. That's basically it. Yeah. And I'm not really embarrassed anymore. I mean, I showed myself dancing shirtless on Ryan in that video. Okay. All right. That's the bottom of the barrel. Embarrassment right there. And giving up. Yeah. Courage. Yeah. Having courage is good. And being consistent is the hardest part. And like the biggest thing I talk about in the last part is like making videos with things you're passionate about. That's honestly the hardest part because like, and I say I'm ADHD and it's like, okay, what is my thing gonna be? You know, because like, here's the thing about this video, right, that I just made. Say this does pop off and go viral, right? How do I expand on that? Because like, it's like a talking head video kind of, so I can embrace that style, you know, and maybe that would be my style. But at the same time, it's like, if I do what I love and I just record it, like it might not end up being that. So I might get all these subscribers that aren't even going to watch my content. Like, do you think this kind of video, right, that I made, people that enjoy this kind of video are going to want to watch me have a cool voice reading Lord of the Rings? I mean, I don't know. There's not a ton of overlap. I'm sure some of them will, you know, but there's not a lot of overlap there. So like, I made this video and it's a really good video. I'm proud of it, and it meant a lot to me, and I'm very happy with it. But at the same time, it's like I don't know where I'm going with it. The flash of you trying out the different things of things you've tried out. Yeah. Oh yeah. I had to dig through some videos and find some stuff. I wasn't going to do it at first, but then I was like, this would make it better. And I tried it and I did it because I don't want to be lazy and I want to put in my full effort. I even added sound effects. I actually only added one sound effect and I reused it over and over again, like the bass sound, which nobody even pointed out, which is perfect. That means nobody noticed it, which means it achieved the effect it needed to, which is, it wasn't too obvious, but it was like enough to like make the video feel more powerful. You know, if you rewatch the video, you can watch the beginning every time a video pops up. It goes, ooh, ooh. And that's what I did to make it be more intense. Like, oh shit, you know, it's engaging. That's one thing I watched a video where they were like, adding sounds with your edits can make a big difference. If you add a sound with your edit, the edit feels more powerful, you know? And so you come up with sounds. Okay, sorry. I've been just rambling. This is Lord of the Rings stream. We're done. We're done. We don't need to get into all this. We don't need to get into all of this. We gotta shut this dang book. Yep. People only believe you if you show your work. Yep, that's true. Unfortunately. And I that's why I made sure right at the beginning to be like, okay, I got to immediately show something so that people are like, so it's not like I'm lying about being on YouTube for 15 years, showing some old video, like very old video where you look completely different. The other thing that's alarming is like how different my voice sounds. Like my gosh, my voice sounds so tiny and juvenile. It's funny. So small and like, it's funny. I don't know. It's fast. It's weird. It's crazy. BB face will right away. What? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. BB face will right away. Got it. Oh yeah, different hairstyles. Okay. Yeah. So much growth. I've grown so much since then. Since 15 years ago. putting phones, putting cameras, and duct tape. I really wish I would have had one of those videos this year. That would have been really interesting. Babyface. Oh, babyface. Babyface. Yeah. Babyface will, for sure. That is true. Okay. All right, I'm done. I'm tired. I read a whole bunch. And I had a good time reading. The more I've been doing this, the more fun I have. For sure. The more I do this, the more fun I have. I'm getting better at it. The story is interesting. It's fun to just shoot the shit. I'm glad I have a wonderful sister who hangs out in the whole stream and reoccurring characters. We got Bunny who shows up. We got Colby. We even had a new name pop into chat today, which is always exciting. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to head out. Rip Pone Bill, yes. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Pone Bill. Pone Bill! Oh no, where'd you go, Pone Bill? I'm so worried about you. Pone Bill, where did you go? I'm not going to sing a song about Pone Bill, okay? I'm not. As Sam, I'm not going to sing a song as Pone Bill about Pone Bill as Sam. I would never do that. Now, that's a video idea right there, but I don't think anybody would get it. I don't think anybody would get it. I don't think that video would do well, and it would sound bad because I'm terrible at singing. Okay, bye. I'm going to leave now. Goodbye. Goodbye, Bunny. Goodbye, Annie. I'm not going to do it. Pone Bill's going to hoof them wolf brains. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. Bye.